Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at my Hundo Ursaluna in the Master League Premier Cup. This Pokemon gets to 4300 CP, which is quite high for this cup, so this is definitely going to be a Pokemon that has quite a lot of play. We're going to use as a safe swap, a Rhyperior, a Pokemon that you barely really see as a safe swap option, but has quite an interesting play as well, which I'm going to talk a little bit about. And in the lead, we're going to see a Pokemon that you're not really supposed to have here in the lead. This team is not based around Togekiss. This team I built around Primarina, which I would really recommend you to try out if you want to try this team and if you have a Primarina build. Primarina with a Charm in the lead would be 20 times better than the Togekiss. Like, I have to say this directly here in the beginning so people are not confused about it. But with Togekiss, you're going to have an Ice-type weakness, and the Ice-type weakness is going to be very annoying. While if you have Primarina, you're going to be able to completely destroy Ice-types with this Pokemon. And you don't really have an issue at all with this kind of problem, or like this kind of issue there. So, yeah, basically, if you have a Primarina, please try to use it. Primarina would be so much better in the lead compared to Togekiss. But if you don't have one, Togekiss still got the job done. Like, I still was able to go way positive with this team. But I feel like I basically would have won nearly every single game, I feel like, if I had just a different detail with Primarina. But I don't really want to build Primarina right now, just because I am expecting a community day for this Pokemon. And as you're not going to be able to use an Elite TM during the community day, but only 2 days after, I kind of want to keep this around for when I want to showcase it. So, next opponent, we're going to have a Magnezone in the lead. We're going to swap out into the Rhyperior and gonna get out a Gyarados. Totally fine, we can go for a Rock Wrecker here if we wanted to in order to get the shield from the opponent, maybe the knockout against the opponent, but let's see here what we're gonna do. We're gonna overfarm, we're gonna go for a Breaking Swipe here right now, as the opponent might shield this move up here. Hopefully they do. Let's see. They are not going to do this here, which is a little bit annoying, but most people don't know that Mud Slap basically generates away my energy now, and yes, they did not know that we would be able to get to a Rock Wrecker that fast, and this happened quite often today. And like this, as you're gonna see here, we're going to be able to align ourselves, and this is going to be super important, as now we're going to have the Togekiss against the opponent's Annihilate, who also uses a shield for whatever reason against our Breaking Swipe, and we're going to have the lead of Magnezone against our Ursaluna in the back. And for Ursaluna, I have to make something like clear here as well. I don't think Ice Punch is the right call on this Pokemon. Ice Punch is basically, based on the meta, the right call, because you would expect quite a lot of Dragonite, and for this is kinda nice for it. But honestly, I think it learns Thunder Punch, I think it learns all the punches, and if it learns Thunder Punch most likely is going to be the better move to go for, because there are so many Gyarados, and like you will be able to completely destroy Gyarados if you run Thunder Punch on this Pokemon. So I would recommend you to change it to Thunder Punch. Not gonna lie, Ice Punch feels like a waste, at least in higher up elo range. I saw like some comments as well saying that they encounter 20 Dragonites and 25 battles, while I basically encounter 0 Dragonites here the entire time. So like, depends on which elo you're in. Like, if you encounter a lot of Dragonites, I guess Ice Punch does make sense. If you don't encounter any of them, go for Thunder Punch, because you're going to definitely encounter quite a lot of Gyarados. Here we're going to be able to go for the finishing blow here with the Aura Sphere, and we can win this game. Next opponent, Skeletorch in the lead. It would have been also way better if you had Primarina, but this doesn't really matter anyway, because we want to swap out into our Rhyperior as we're gonna get out the opponent's Snorlax. I'm gonna go straight for the hard-hitting Rock Wrecker, as this is going to be able to do quite a lot of damage, and I can try to reach the Breaking Swipe in time. They're going to be able to get to a charge move here, but I don't really care too much. I'm gonna use a shield here. If it's going to be a superpower, that's fine. It is not, but I can now go ahead and go for another Breaking Swipe before they get to another charge move. And if I can align myself, I'm going to be in a great spot here. Let's see what the opponent going to have. The opponent is going to have in the back the Florges. I'm just going to go straight for the Rock Wrecker. I don't really care about it at all. They're going to still have 2 shields left. And you're going to see me here swap onto the Togekiss. Why did I do this? Because I don't care. I literally don't care. Like, the Florges is not going to be able to do anything really against this team. And if they're going to get a ton of energy here, that's lovely for them, because we have a Pokemon in the back that's going to be able to completely wall the energy. Of course, like, Disarming Voice is going to still be neutral, but in a matchup where everything is kind of bulky, you kind of really need to have hard-hitting stab moves, and Disarming Voice, like, Ursaluna does not care. Ursaluna was, like, so great just based on the stats it had. Like, honestly, look at this. We don't really care too much about it. We have Tackle, double resisted fast move. We're still gonna hit quite hard with this, but also we're just going to be a sponge here. Like, I just wait for them to throw again, which they do here immediately afterwards, and now 3 charge moves later, we're still going to be here at yellow HP. Oh no, just barely into the red HP, which is totally fine. I can go to my Rhyperior, I can use a shield here, Moonblast going to be shielded, which is lovely, and so we can take another charge move here. This is just going to be a Disarming Voice. This is going to not knock us out either, and so we can just farm them all the way down and win this game. And here's exactly what I kind of want to showcase here. This is going to be impossible to beat, but imagine you had Primarina in the lead here. You would have been completely hardwalling the lead, you would have been completely hardwalling the Pokemon that's swapping in here against you right now. Like, it would have been such a better matchup for you, basically. That's kind of what I wanted to say with that. Primarina would have helped you out quite a lot of times in those matchups that I had here. And so Jonkus, while still a solid alternative, it is not quite as good as Primarina. So if you want to run this team, and if you have a Primarina build already, please go for that instead, because otherwise Ice-type Pokemon can be a nightmare. There are not too many around, but there's still some around for sure. So make sure to maybe use a Primarina, but otherwise here, as you can see, we just go forfeit because there's no real reason. So many Magnezone in the lead. Really bad for us, but we can still deal with it. We're gonna see a Golisopod swapping in, which is a little bit annoying. I can try to go for the bait here. Hopefully they're going to fall for it, but maybe they, again, forgot. Yeah, a lot of people just don't really realize that you're gonna get to the Rock Wrecker way faster now. So here, this one, we're gonna just let this move go through. We can still take the Liquidation because of the debuff. I can try to reach a Rock Wrecker in time. That's going to be a CMP tie. Hopefully we can align ourselves. Let's take a look at this. We can align ourselves, and this is going to be lovely because they're forced to go into whatever they have in the bag. It is going to be the Annihilate. And again here, we're going to just be able to allow, yeah, we can just go ahead and basically just farm them down here. We align ourselves perfectly. I don't care about what they really want to do here. Shadow Ball is fine. They go into their Magnezone, they can swap out, and now Ursaluna is not really caring too much about it. Still, honestly, the matchup is not as good for us because they're gonna get the attack drop here now, and so it's going to be a little bit more of a trickier one. While they don't really do any damage with their fast move, Mirror Shot surprisingly did still a decent amount of damage. Like, they still have to go for 5 Mirror Shots, like, don't get me wrong, it's not going to be a very hard-hitting move, but it is still a little bit more than I expected here. But I don't really care too much about it. I can just let the move go through. Like, it's literally nothing to me. I can go for another Ice Punch here as well. They're most likely going to try to swap out very soon into the Annihilate, which will be totally fine for us as well. They even let the move go through. I think they're just going to forfeit at this point of time. They do. And so we can move on to the next opponent. A very good lead for us here this time around. It's going to be a Chestnut, and they swap out into the Excadrill. I think this is the right call to go into the Rhyperior. While they are super effective damage against us, we can just use one shield and farm them down, which I feel like is decent. It is a little bit annoying because they are going to have the Chestnut, which is going to be able to resist our moves, other than, of course, Breaking Swipe. But I decided to go ahead and go for the Rock Wrecker now anyway against the opponents. What's called against the opponent's Chestnut here coming in. Even though it is resisted, it does more damage than a Breaking Swipe does. It's a stab move, it is a very hard-hitting move, so it is still the better call to do. I actually would have been able to go for a Breaking Swipe here as well, which I should have done in hindsight, but it does not actually really matter because they're going to have a Metagross in the back, which I did not really expect too much. Metagross is a little bit of an issue for this team as well. It is not really a very common Pokemon in higher up Elo range, just because Gyarados is everywhere, and quite a lot of answers to this Pokemon are everywhere. For example, Skeledirge is kind of common nowadays as well. So here, my only play is to hope that they're going to go for a no shield. They didn't, and so I decided to forfeit. Next opponent, Flodge is in the lead. You kind of want to swap out basically immediately here because you have an ABB style line. There's going to be very likely a video next week for team building in the 3 main different types of teams, so definitely stay tuned for this. I definitely plan on doing a video on basic team building next week for Friday. So definitely stay tuned for this. Hopefully I'm going to be able to get it done, but it should be a video that I can do quite easily, but I'm going to record this most likely in like a few days. But yeah, anyway, so we're going to see here the Annihilate going for a Shadow Ball, and look at this. Rhyperior actually going to be able to put in quite a decent amount of work against the opponent here, as we're gonna be able to align ourselves. Rhyperior is actually sometimes able to knock out Annihilate if you're gonna get the debuffs early, and if you have a little bit of an energy advantage. And so now the opponent is still forced to go for a charge move, and we can align ourselves, which is kind of decent for us as well here. There's something always coming through. I decided to go into the Jonkus. It might be a little bit of an awkward play here because maybe they have something like a Gyarados in the back, but I can let the move go through. It's going to be the Moonblast. I can try to get more damage in. It's going to be a Snorlax, so it's going to be actually a good matchup for me, as now Ursaluna is going to be able to go up against the Snorlax, but it's not the best matchup ever. You do way more damage with your fast move because yours is neutral and the opponent's is double resisted, but they're still going to have access to the move Superpower, so you have to be a little bit careful eventually with yeah, using your shields and stuff like this. Here I decide to go ahead and use a shield on a body slam, which is not ideal. I'm gonna overfarm basically up to 100 energy here all the time because it's going to be the best play that I can go for. Here I can go for another Ice Punch because it's going to force a shield from the opponent. There's no way that they're not going to shield this one. And so we're going to be in a spot where I try to catch a move. It did not work out. They can go for a charge move with the Flodges. It should not knock us out. It's just a disarming voice. And we can still reach the Ancient Power, but we're not going to be able to pull that one off. but now I'm forced to go for a charge move here. It is going to be the Ice Punch, and they decide to use a shield. My only play here is to no shield, because the superpower does more damage than a Moonblast would do, and so I have to hope that I can go up to an Ice Punch. I cannot, and so the opponent just has to go for the 2 body slams that they stored up, and sadly this is going to be a loss here. Or is it? Still, Ursaluna is going to be able to go for another Ice Punch, knock them out, and we can say goodbye to the opponent. Next opponent coming up. Again, like we encountered so many hard lead losses here with the Magnezone being everywhere. But I usually go for one fast move and then go for the swap out, because it's going to allow us to get like around like 1 or 2 more turns in with the Rhyperior before the opponent can really do anything. And this can be kind of crucial. As you're going to see here again, the opponent is going to have the Annihilate. I actually going to decide to use a shield here now on the potential Shadow Ball, which is going to work out quite nicely for us, I feel like, as I can overfarm by a little bit. Should have most likely went straight for the breaking side, by the way. But it is what it is. We can still get a shield here from the opponent. I think it's just going to be a Night Slash, and if we get a shield advantage, we might be able to even go for something like the Aura Sphere later on against the Magnezone, which might be a way of winning this game as well. In comes Breaking Swipe, going to be able to get the debuff again now, and now they're sadly going to still be able to farm me down, but it is what it is. Like, if they got all the debuffs, we would have been definitely fine here knocking them out. And here you see basically what I mean. If you had Thunder Punch here, we would have been easily able to win this game. And this is something that I definitely would recommend you, I think, just go for Thunder Punch. Like, there is, especially for this team, if you want to copy it and if you want to use Primarina in the lead, no real reason in order to go for Ice Punch, because you have a Fairy type in the lead, you have a Ground type with Much type as a safe swap. You're gonna get out the Dragon type no matter what anyway, if the opponent would run something like this. And you still have Breaking Swipe / Rock Wrecker for like a Dragonite on your safe swap. So I would not really recommend you to go for these standard moves that on the Ursaluna. Go for Thunder Punch instead. It's going to give you a better coverage for the weaknesses of this team. Just saying it here. Here, try to go ahead and try to go for the Aura Sphere. It didn't work out, and we can move on to the next opponent. As said before, Metal Gross can be a little bit of an issue. Let's see if we can deal a little bit better with this Pokemon here. Again, if we had Primarina, it would have been not as much of an issue, because the fast move would be, not resisted, but like neutral instead of super effective. It's still, of course, not the best matchup for the Primarina against it, but it's still going to be a little bit of a better play for us. You're going to see that the opponent uses a shield. I should have went for another Breaking Swipe here, but I decided not to, because I thought I might be able to go for another charge move, which was not the case. So, because we know what they have in the lead, I'm kind of forced to let this move go through. I'm fairly certain it's most likely going to be something like a double Fairy Line here, but we have to see what the opponent is going to have in the back. We're going to be able to swap out now into our Ursaluna. They're very likely going to go, it's actually a double Fairy Line, as expected. It's going to be the Florges swapping in against us. Honestly, if you have a Primarina in this cup, it's definitely worth using. It's most likely one of the best Pokemon to use. It is just very awkward that we're very likely going to get a community day very soon for this Pokemon, so yeah, definitely be aware of that. Here again, if we had Thunder Punch, this would be a very safe play here. Here the opponent was calling this one, but like if we had Thunder Punch, we still would have been able to knock him out with like a little bit more fast move pressure. So honestly, Ice Punch is not something I would recommend here on Ursaluna. It is not really the best fast charge move to go for. Here we're still going to be able to survive a move though, and I kind of want to keep my energy for the Florges, and I was able actually to now go ahead, get the knockout with an Ancient Power from Togekiss against the opponent. I can still get some damage in here, and 1 high horsepower should be enough to knock out the Florges here, right? This is gonna do massive damage, stab move, high attack, but no, it is not. It is not gonna get the knockout, and so we sadly lose the game by just a few HP. Unfortunate. Next opponent, Togekiss. Togekiss in the lead. You kind of want to stay in and wait until Ancient Power is loaded and then swap out into your Ground and Rock type, because you're just going to take no damage from this Pokemon here. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We have the Ancient Power now stored on our own one. We have an ABB line anyway, so we have to swap out. And as we can see, they're going to run a fighter here with the Machamp, which is kind of okay for us. We can go ahead and go for the Breaking Swipe. We're going to get it out of the way for our Pokemon in the back, which is going to be our Ursaluna. And so, as you're gonna see here as well, the opponent is going to have to go for one cross chop, which is totally fine. And we can try to now go for the full farm down here, but they can still go for a charge move. I can use a shield, all totally okay for me. It's a Stone Edge actually, which is kind of wild. And they go back into the Togekiss. I kind of want to keep my energy here, and I was hoping that I can just farm them all the way down. They still get to a charge move, but this should just be the Ancient Power, and so I'd rather keep all the energy that I have so far. And it's going to be a Hexorus lurking in the back. This is still going to be a little bit of a trickier one, because they have the super effective counter against me. Here, Ice Punch actually does help us out, I guess, for the first time in this video. but it's still going to be a little bit of a trickier one. We're going to be able to get the shields here. I think I would have been still fine without Ice Punch, by the way, if I just baited the Thunder Punch and then go for the high horsepower. But here we're going to call the bait and call that it's going to be the Breaking Swipe. I can still go for the Auras here, but it's not going to be enough after this, so we have to hope that Charm is going to be enough. We can still use a shield here, but there's still going to be a Togekiss lurking in the back. Can we still charm them down? We can. And so this is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.